Good evening, friends. We're back again, reading passages from Inner Work of Adat Hashem. Page 115. Divine service involves, before any thought, speech, or action, contemplating, does God want me to do this or not? Just imagine that for a moment. Before any thought, speech, or action, contemplating, does God want me to do this or not? That's a level of attention that I imagine most of us would feel is totally out of the realm of possibility. I mean, maybe action, but even that. But thought, any thought, does God want me to do this or not? Just imagine the level of devotion and attunement to the divine that would need to be present in a person's system, in a person's being, to pause before any thought, speech, or action. And be aware of the divine, be aware of God, and attuned so heavily to Spirit that we're asking Spirit this question: is this in alignment with you or not? Is this thought in alignment with you? Is this speech in alignment with you? Is this in divine service? Is my speech, the words that I'm saying, are they in alignment with you? Are they in divine service? Is this action in divine service? Or is this in self-serving service? Service of myself, my own self-gratification. I just want to say that we're pointing out high levels of spiritual practice here that are attainable for us, and they are very far along the path. Very, very far along the path in a highly developed individual. So it shouldn't mean that this turns us away from the path because it feels unattainable. And so what's the point? It should just inspire us to take one step, to have one moment in the day where we pause before a thought, speech, or action and ask, does God want me to do this or not? Right? Just once. And then the next day, once again and again, and then maybe twice. But don't let the ideal or the end goal of every thought, speech, and action being in alignment and attunement to the divine scare you away. Emunah is more precious than we can comprehend. Emunah is more precious than we can comprehend. Hamet she'anachnu lo mesugalim l'sha'ar eze kli yakar hu hakli shel ha'emunah. The vessel, here he's saying, the vessel of emunah is so precious that we can't even understand, we can't comprehend how precious it is. Because it's the vehicle for which our transformation is manifested. That through our emunah, our embodied faith, it is how we come to manifestation of divine union. Because divine union and the world that we live in is in the exile, meaning that the revelation and the presence of the divine are hidden from us. We are we are dependent upon emunah, embodied faith, to navigate our way through the darkness. If we only relied upon our direct experience of the divine, then nothing would happen. We wouldn't get anywhere, because the divine is hidden from us. So emunah is the vehicle upon which our practice hinges and upon which our transformation is dependent upon. Serving God is a state of joy. Interesting, the Hebrew is so different. Lo yachol liyot she'adam misrat et hamelech ve'ein lo simcha. It's not possible for a person to serve the king and there's no joy within him. It's not possible to serve the king without joy, because when we are in divine service, it is the most joyful thing possible. Because we are in that state of clarity of purpose. When we're serving the king, when we're serving the divine will, that means that we're already attuned to the divine will. And if you can imagine, like the divine will, the will of the universe, and we have come to a place that we feel connected to that we feel we have a sense of what the divine will is. If you, a human being, a tiny, minute human being, have come to a place in your existence, in your karma has brought you to a place where you feel, I have a sense of what the divine will of the master of the universe, the source of all existence, I have a sense of what that will is, and I'm here to serve that will, to serve the will of the creator of existence. That would have to bring you profound joy, because you have a connection with the source of all existence, the creator of existence. So that in itself, that connection is going to bring you massive joy. The clarity of knowing that will and being in alignment with that will is so massively joyful. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. It is easy to transcend our personal desires if it is done for God. The struggle is to believe that we are in the presence of God. Again, right? It's easy to transcend our personal desires if it's done for God, meaning if we are in connection with the divine, if we're aware of God's presence, if we are aware and attuned to the divine will, the master, the creator of the universe, the source of all existence, if we are attuned to that will, then it's easy to transcend our personal desires. Because again, here we are, we're in the court of the king. We are in the space of the master of the universe. And so being in that presence, that royalty, the majesty of the divine, we're not even thinking about our personal desires. There's not even a sense of that whatsoever, because we're just in the experience of the divine and the radiance of the divine and the joy of that divine service. The only struggle is to believe that we're in the actual presence of God. The struggle is to believe we're in the presence of God, to know and to be aware that we are in the presence of God. And when we don't feel it, to have the emunah, the embodied faith that we're in the presence of God. That is the struggle. And that is the struggle of this world of Galut, of this exile paradigm, because the presence of God is hidden from us. So again, we need our emunah, our embodied faith, to keep working, to feel and to know that even if we don't feel it, we're in the presence of God. And when we're in the presence of God, it is easy to transcend our personal desires and be in divine service. Emunah is a divine light. It is a spiritual power given by God that makes it possible to live in a way that transcends our understanding. We've seen this phrase almost exactly the same in a different part of the book earlier on. Emunah is Or Eloki. It's a divine light. It is a spiritual power given by God. A spiritual power given by God that makes it possible to live in a way that transcends our understanding. So Emunah is a divine light. It's a spiritual power. And it is what allows us to transcend our personal understanding and our personal experience, right? Again, so when we are unable to personally understand or experience that everything is God and that God's presence is here shining down upon us, when we're unable to understand that or feel that or experience that, emunah is what makes it possible to transcend our inability to understand, feel, and experience the divine, and to even though we can't understand, feel, or experience, to still be in divine service, to still be united with the divine will. A fundamental spiritual principle is that wanting to attain emunah precedes receiving the emunah from God. Not everyone is asking for this, right? So a fundamental spiritual principle is that if you want to receive emunah, in order to receive emunah, you first must want to attain emunah. If there's no desire for emunah, if you're not praying for emunah, praying for God to give you this spiritual light, this divine light, this spiritual power of emunah, then you won't attain it. You won't receive it. It's a fundamental spiritual principle that you must first ask for and pray for this divine light and spiritual power of emunah. It's a prerequisite to receiving it. And the Rav concludes that by saying not everyone is asking for this, right? So many people are not asking, are not praying for, are not requesting, mevakesh, to requesting to attain emunah, right? We're not praying for, please God, give me emunah, please help me to attain this spiritual light, this divine light, this spiritual power of emunah, so that I may live in union with you and with your will. So this is telling us the recipe, which is to start praying for emunah, which will then, God willing, help open the gates to receive that emunah from the divine. We can only ask for belief in God if we realize that we do not yet believe in God, right? So we can't ask for emunah in the divine if we don't first realize we don't actually yet believe in the divine, that we don't have that emunah. So now a step earlier, right? First, we must be aware and realize that we don't currently attain, we don't attain, we're not attaining emunah. We're not in a state of emunah. Though we haven't acquired emunah yet, right? So we first must be aware of that. We first must imagine what a life with emunah would look like, and then look at our own lives and see that at the moment I haven't acquired emunah. I don't hold it. I don't have it. I haven't grasped it. Once I realize that I don't yet have emunah, that I haven't acquired that state of consciousness, that state of embodied faith, then I can start asking and praying for it. But first I must see the lack of it, that it's missing in my life, and to recognize the importance, the utter necessity of having emunah. I see I don't have it, I recognize the necessity of having it, and then I can pray for it, and then praying for it can help bring it into my being, into my consciousness. So first recognize that you do not yet have emunah, then you can start praying for it. If we think that we have emunah, we are far from emunah. Right? So if we're already thinking that we have attained emunah, if we think that we have attained this state of embodied faith, then we have yet to actually have attained it. Because emunah is sort of endless. It is always in a state of being attained. It's a living state of consciousness. So if we feel we've attained it, it means that we feel we've arrived, that we've come to the top of the mountain and we've arrived there, and now we're at a static moment of completion. And emunah is not a static experience, it's a living, constant experience. It is endless. It's constantly alive and moving. So you can't attain it. It doesn't stop. You don't sort of arrive and then it's complete. It's always in a state of movement, always in a state of action and evolution inside one's being. Okay, any comments or questions are always welcome. Have a wonderful night.